Yo, what's up, guys? So now we're on, I've lost count, man. Nine, yeah, lesson nine of the challenge, right? So we're just going to talk about signal now. So this is the domino effect. This is, like I said, something that I've been using for quite a while now, and it's just helped me to make projects more manageable. So I want to go through this practical way of dealing with projects so that you can see progress and you don't have to be perfect. Like I always say this to my clients is that we're going for progress, not perfection. And it's really important that I state that because for ADHDers, we're perfectionists, right? So let's get into it. So what are dominoes, first of all? So if you're new here or maybe you still don't get the concept, each domino represents a very small manageable piece of a larger project, right? So you got your goal, you understand the goal now, like bigger picture, and then you want to zoom in now, and you've got these projects, and these projects are just basically it could be a course, it could be a book, it could be exercise routine, it could be anything, right? And once you've got that and you understand that, there's things inside of that. I call them dominoes. These are little actionable steps that let it makes it very clear that you're working on this project, right? Because of these little actionable steps. But what you're doing is you're actually starting with obviously dominoes that are the first actionable domino that is needed for that project. And then you're thinking about that. And then when that's done, you move on to the next thing, which is the next actual thing, and then the next thing. And it just makes it easier for our brain to deal with that instead of just thinking too far ahead, right? So it just naturally leads into the next domino because you've just done one thing, right? You've just read one page of a book. It's like, well, the obvious next thing to do is just read the next page, right? That's how we have to do things. If we say, "Oh, we're going to read a book," and like we look at the pages and we scroll through, like, oh, there's 100 pages here, like 200 pages here, that freaks us out. Thinking about like what we got to learn and all this stuff, like that's pressure. We just focus on just reading one page. We're more calm now, right? So that's what I deal. That's what I do with everything, right? Just that same process with everything. And examples of dominoes would be like daily habits, like routines, like I said, like stretch in the morning or something like that. Will be a domino. A domino maybe like a lesson that you're learning from an online course or training. A domino might be there's so many domino. Like, I mean, I want you to just kind of think about like where these dominoes could be in your life, but I'm just giving you a few examples, and then there's obviously like you might have an idea for something. Oh, that's a really good idea. I wanna work on a video idea or something like that'd be a domino. You're capturing an idea, and then you're later on just deciding if you're gonna actually do the idea or not, right? But I'll obviously go into that habit next week of how you should deal with capturing ideas and where you should put them. So the tiny actions are compounding over time, right? So, um, for example, one of my habit streaks that I've been doing is on school, where I do 10 plus activities per day, and that has allowed me to do over 500 day streak, and it's only five activities. So it's me liking or commenting or posting at least a combination of those things makes 10, right? And that's a streak, right? So it's very easy, right, for me to make a comment and contribute to my community. So I'm posting every day anyway, and then I might like someone else's comment from a post that I've done, or I like their post, or I like their comment. I just do 10 of those, and that is a streak, right? If you just think about, oh yeah, I've got to do 1 year streak of being on school all the time, like that overwhelms us, right? It's like, yeah, that sounds impossible because what am I going to do on Christmas Day when, like I'm not going to have my phone next to me and all this stuff. Like you're thinking about the bigger picture, like, and then starting to go into all these little details, it overwhelms us. In the end, you just do 1 year not doing any school activity whatsoever, right? All I do is I wake up and it takes me 5 minutes to do 10 plus activities. And then I know that my streak is maintained. And then I'm going to obviously do much more throughout my day, but I know that I've at least done the floor, right? So that's an example of dominoes, right? So the signal in the domino. So the signal is that you complete one small step. Like I said, I've just done that. Like it's a very simple, like there's the floor of what I need to do when it comes to maintaining the streak. So you knock down that single domino. So I've done that, cool, awesome. And then you receive a signal, confirmation that you're on track, right? So I know I'm on track now. I've done my streak, I've done my 10 plus activities or 10 minimum. So I can now relax. I don't have to worry about doing that, the last minute, like, oh no, like I need to get one more in, or I'm gonna lose a streak, all that stuff. Like you could just do it quickly, like in 5 minutes, right? Um, and then you see the next step after that. So obviously with the streak, I'm doing 10 plus activities, but I might have a goal to do 100 a day, right? So it might be that the bare minimum is 10, right? So I'll make sure I do at least my 10. The next actual step might be just to do 20, and then 30, and then 40. It might be that, right? Or it might be, oh, okay, I've done my 10 now. I'm gonna now go for 50, and then after that, I'm gonna go for 100, right? But that's not my goal, right? But that's just an example of how I would deal with it from a streak perspective. You always do a floor, like the base, the bare minimum that you can do. If you're going to do stretching, for example, in the morning, and or meditation, if you say I'm going to do hour meditation per day, like you're not going to last. Like if you say I'm going to do 5 minutes of meditation as the floor, that's the bare minimum I'm going to do, and then you do 5 minutes of your meditation, you're likely to do more than 5 minutes. You trick your brain to saying that, well, I only got to do 5 minutes. But we all know that as ADHD is, like, as soon as we start something, it's hard for us to get out of that. So like we could do 5 minutes, and maybe like meditation is not really a good example because maybe a lot of us just don't want to. It's like we can't wait for it to end, right? But it is just letting you know that like just doing the floor is enough. If you've done 5 minutes of meditation a day for a year, you'd be further than most people in life, right? So that's how I see it. Like it's just completing the domino is just proof that you're making progress, basically, right? You're getting 1% better, and giving your project a home. So the 55-5 method, something that I use where it's the Pomodoro basically, but I've just changed the amount of minutes that I'm doing a session, right? I do 55 minutes of deep work. So if there's something I need to do, like for example, this is a 55-minute session. It's not going to take me 55 minutes to do, right? But I'm giving myself a 55-minute window to just focus on this video. I've done the presentation slides, and then, I've done my briefing of the idea and everything. It's all done in this 55-minute session, with these dominoes. And of course, with this domino. And then, of course, now I'm recording. And by the time the 55 minutes is done, this video is done, and I can obviously post it, right? And I have a 5 minute break to reflect on how that went. Yeah, I actually liked that, I had all of the notes ready before, or it was a really good process what I did and how I actually created the slides. I'm going to just keep a template so it's easy for next. Like this is why you have to do that 5 minute rest afterwards. If you just go all the way through and then I continue doing more and more, I'm going to next project, and then you're not giving yourself room to just like digest the win. Like like just finishing this video and then just taking myself away from the desk, going for a walk, maybe even going getting myself like a pastry or something, like just to reward myself, you know, like take yourself away from the space for 5 minutes, take a break, rest, recharge, like just reflect or whatever. So I like that. Rest, recharge, reflect. Anyway, I don't need any more acronyms and frameworks. But yeah, so anyway, so state the 5 minute version of a domino is a good tip. Is that, just like, you might think like I've got to do an hour of doing this, and then like you get overwhelmed even just thinking about doing an hour of something. Just think like, what is the 5 minute version of this? The 5 minute version is me sitting down, opening a tab, getting cracking, right? And then if you just think about that and you just do that, by the time you've done that, you're like, okay, well, I'm in front of the screen now, and let's just get this going, right? If I start sitting there thinking too much about it, I'm not even going to get to the point of sitting down and even doing the session. So try to think of everything in the sessions as the 5 minute version of it. Like you know what you're going to do in the session, but just think about the 5 minute session, like the 5 minute version of it, like what you're going to do in the first 5 minutes of that session. Then there's how to use your time window, right? So you've got this 24 hours ahead of you, and I do recommend that for us as ADHDers, what's really important for us is to do time constraints. So what I do is I have basically I'm just thinking about today. like I got a call coming up in about um 35 minutes, and like I'm like literally I'm doing this. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna have a coffee, right? I'm gonna go for a walk, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna have that call. And that's all I'm thinking about now. It's just that. Like, there's loads of other things I could be doing today and all this stuff, like, and the week and all this stuff. But I'm just like, just focusing on what's happening in the next hour. The next hour, I've got that call. Within the next hour, I'm going to be on the call. I'm going to make sure I prepare, my notes for the call. And, like, I'm just thinking about the next couple of hours. And then, like, what you do as well is you just look at what your day looks like. Okay, I've got these things that are already in place. They're already confirmed. They're in the calendar. Where is there room left in the calendar? Okay, there's this window here, this window here. Okay, based on the projects that I have, like, what is the best use of this time that I have now? And obviously protect that time slot, because you know what's going to happen if you don't have anything in them. You're going to doom scroll, because we hate just waiting around and just not having anything to do. We need things to do. So like just protect those slots. And if you're for example, I've got a couple of clients that are writing a book. It's like protect the slot of when you're writing the book. Like just don't have these open wind. Oh yeah, and I'll just just do something random here. Like just I don't know. I ain't got no slot here. I ain't got no time blocked for this. So I just keep it just open for whatever, right? Commit to a slot and just say like, look, this slot is for this, and just go into the session and just do what you can with that slot. Like it might just be you just brainstorming ideas in that slot. Cool. Might not have to be you just doing some crazy like, yeah, I done 10 pages. Like, don't have to be that. Like maybe it's just one page. It's cool, right? But you have to start small. Sit down, tackle the 5 minute version of it. It's just sitting down and writing down the first word. It's just all you need to be thinking about. Once you're in it, you can be fine. You just keep going and then you build momentum, right? And it just gets so much easier because like I was saying to one of my clients the other day is um, that when do we ever feel like regretful that we went to the gym? Like, oh, I went to the gym today. That wasn't a really good use of my time. Like, we're not really going to be upset about going to the gym, right? You might not want to, you might feel like you didn't want to go, but you're not going to be like, oh, I went to the gym and oh, why did I do that? Like, right? Like, if you want to be healthy and you want to be fit, and you go to the gym, you might not have wanted to go, you might not have felt like it, but you feel good after you leave it, right? It's the same with these things. Like when you go into the task, you might not feel like doing the task, but as soon as you've done the task, you're never going to feel crap about it. So, let's bring it all together, right? So obviously you've got a goal that you turn into a project, right? So you're transforming your vision into an action. So now there's a goal. Now you bring it. Okay, so what's the action? Okay, so now you want to break it into smaller dominoes from this project to a domino. And then now these dominoes are going to be signal that you're on the right track, right? So you're proving that you're progressing. That's what this GPS is all about. It might be a bit like, how do I start this now? Like, and you might be a little bit on edge of like, oh, like overthinking stuff, right? But just lean into this and just try it with a couple of projects or a couple of goals that you have. Maybe do a short-term version of it. Like just do a short-term goal. Maybe it's something that's in the next 24 hours, or do a long-term goal that is something that is more reoccurring, right? Like going to the gym. And just try and play around with it and see how you get on. But that's this lesson done, and basically just give your project a sacred time slot. Like it's really important. Like you now like state what the project is. You've got the goal, you've got the deadline. It's like, where do you put that now? Like you put that in a sacred slot in your day that you just protect that slot. Someone says to you, "Oh yeah, how you doing? What are you up to?" Like you know that slot's that's covered already, right? And then start with the first small step, like I said, and then just trust the process. Each domino leads to the next. It's working. It's working for me. So yeah, I hope it works for you. Anyway, take care. Peace.